Jesus tells them to go, still verse 32, and when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine. Mark 5:13, and forthwith, or I already said that, forthwith Jesus gave leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. Okay. Luke 8:33, then went the devils out of the man and entered into the swine. Okay, so that first sentence is all the same, sort of, between all three. And when they were come out, they went. And the unclean spirits went out. When they were come out. So I'll use unclean spirits instead of they. And the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. I'll have when they went out, they entered. Or Luke, then went the devils out of the man and entered into the swine. I could say, and when they went, or then went the devils. The devils or the unclean spirits? Okay. Mark says unclean spirits went out. Luke says the devils went out of the man. I remember that during the first exorcism, I had a situation like this between devils and unclean spirits. A spirit of an unclean devil. That's what I said. Yeah, so I put spirit before unclean, which had a spirit of an unclean devil. I think I'm going to do the same thing. Because I have the choice between both, when it sure seems that Mark and Luke think they're the same. No, I can't do that because it doesn't say the man here. It just says the unclean spirits versus the devils. That earlier situation was the man had unclean spirits or he had devils. It works that way because if you have a spirit of an unclean devil, that still makes sense. But I can't say then the spirit of an unclean devil went out. I don't think that would work. I'm just going to have to pick between one or the other. So earlier it does say two possessed with devils were there. So this man has devils. Then it says he had an unclean spirit and devils a long time. Matthew says devils. Mark says unclean spirit. Luke says devils. So only Mark is using different terminology here. And in this situation, yeah, Mark is also the one that's saying unclean spirits. So it's not going back and forth that I can see. Mark and Luke both have Jesus saying, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." So Luke used devil and unclean spirit. So I guess to Luke, they're the same. And then later, because many devils were entered into him, that's still Luke. But Mark also has devils here, and all the devils besought him. So yeah, Mark has both as well, devils and unclean spirits. I'm pretty sure they're the same. And like I said last time, I do know of a theology where they're different. But I don't know from these passages if you could say they're different. So if they're the same, then I can just pick. I don't know of a way I could put them both. The unclean spirits went out, or then went the devils out. It has to be one or the other. Okay, since Mark and Luke both go back and forth between devils and unclean spirits, they're both saying they're saying they're the same. Probably. I mean, you can argue that they are different, and there's two sets of entities possessing this man. I guess you'd have to say that only the devils are asking him to be cast into the swine, and the unclean spirits are not. No, I'm just going to treat them like they're the same. Because they both use them the same, and because devils was just mentioned one sentence earlier, I'm going to use unclean spirits this time to keep it new. Since they are referring to the same thing, I'm not changing the meaning by choosing one or the other. So just to keep it fresh. And unclean spirit, if they are the same, it seems like it encapsulates more meaning. So should I say from the order of Luke, then went the unclean spirits out of the man? Or the order from Mark, the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, or went the unclean spirits out of the man? Okay, so that's added in Luke. They went out of the man into the swine. Mark just says the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. No question of the man. So I'd have to say the unclean spirits went out of the man and entered into the swine. Actually, I like that order. The unclean spirits went out of the man and into the swine. It's very linear. Luke, then went the devils out of the man and entered into the swine. Yeah. Now, I like it the order Mark has. The unclean spirits. Then, I'll say the is both unclean spirits. What does Matthew have? When they were come out, they went into the herd of swine. Then, when... yeah, it shows then instead of when they went out. When they were come out. Went out of the man. So went out. Matthew, when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine. Okay, so, and when they were come out. None of those words are in the others. They went into the herd of swine. And entered into the swine. Okay, so Mark and Luke both say, and entered into the swine. Matthew has, they went into the swine. So they went, I can say, is then part of this first sentence. Went out. So I guess just went. Just that's the only word. Luke and went. So yeah, went is all three. Went. Luke then says out of the man. Mark, I remember the man's not there. It just went out. Okay, so out is Luke and Mark. Out is all three. Okay, so it went out. Mark and entered into the swine of the man. So this is Luke only of the man. And entered into the swine. And entered into the swine. Where does Matthew have that? So, into, the is all three, but and entered is only Mark and Luke. And entered, all three, into the... And Matthew adds herd of swine, whereas Mark and Luke just say swine. Yeah, so I'll add herd from Matthew. Herd of swine. So also of is still Matthew. And then swine is all three. Swine. Swine. Now Luke continues, and the herd. Oh, well, that's where the herd is mentioned. Mark and the herd ran violently down a steep. And then Matthew says, and behold, the whole herd. Okay, so herd is repeated in Matthew, so I'll put it twice. and behold the whole. So Mark and Luke just say and behold the. Mark and the herd. Luke and herd. So and is all three. Matthew only, behold the is all three, but then whole is only Matthew. And then herd is all three. Whole herd of swine. Mark, the herd ran violently. So of swine is Matthew, but not Mark. Luke, the herd ran violently. Yeah, this of swine is annoying. It's repeated in Matthew. It's not repeated in Mark or Luke. And I don't want to put it again, so I might just cut it out. Have it according to the order of Mark and Luke. I don't know if I should, though. I don't like it, that's for sure. I think I'll just go with the order of Mark and Luke. The herd ran violently. I like just how Mark and Luke have it for the whole thing. Entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place. So you have to infer that they entered into the whole herd, and then that the whole herd ran down the cliff. And there's no need to continually mention that this is a herd of swine, and that when they're running over the cliff down into the lake or the hill, it's still the same herd of swine that's doing that. Yeah, I don't like the repetition at all. So I'm not going to put it. Whole herd ran violently down. Matthew ran violently down. Luke ran violently down. Okay, so that's all three. Violently down. Matthew. A steep place into the sea. Mark, a steep place into the sea. Okay, exactly the same. Luke, a steep place into the lake. Is it a sea or is it a lake? The rest of it's the same. A steep place into the lake or the sea. I think let's go with the sea because that's in Matthew and Mark. So that's the majority witness. Sea. Matthew. And perished in the waters. Luke, and were choked. Mark. Oh, look at that. Mark has an added sentence. They were about 2,000 and were choked in the sea. Mark only. They were about 2,000 and were choked and perished. I'm not going to have in the sea and then right after that in the waters, because the waters and the sea, they're obviously talking about the same thing. Matthew just says waters this time instead of repeating himself, sea. I do think I want to say and were choked in the something and perished. Yeah, that would work. Mark, and were choked in the sea. Luke, and were choked. So, and were choked is Mark, Luke. And were choked, which just means drowned. Mark continues, adding in the sea, although Matthew says they perished in the waters. So this is just between Matthew and Mark, waters and sea. There's one for waters, one for sea. And since I already use sea, I'm leaning towards waters. Yeah, I'm going to go with waters. It's clear they're already in the sea, so I need to use a new word for it. Keep it fresh. Matthew only. And perished. Now from both in the, and I'm just going to have waters from Matthew. Then the unclean spirits went out of the man and entered into the herd of swine. And behold, the whole herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000, and were choked and perished in the waters.